Welcome to Meta-Ethics. This video intends to provide an analysis of the relationship between religion, atheism, and antinatalism, as well as dispel some common myths. I will start by defining the terms used and then use evidence and opinion to discuss topics such as why are so many antinatalists atheistic, and can antinatalists believe in God? Be sure to like this video and subscribe to stay up to date with future content. Antinatalism is a philosophy that assigns a negative value to birth. In this context, we are specifically talking about antinatalists that are against all sentient life, sometimes called ethicists, not antinatalists who only promote reducing human population for environmental reasons, for example. Atheism can be defined as a lack of belief in a god or gods, usually the creator of the universe. For the purpose of this discussion, we will take this to include any supernatural beings whatsoever. Subsequently, atheists believe there is no divine or objective meaning to the universe or our lives. Why is antinatalism associated with atheism? One potential explanation is that to believe life is something fundamentally negative, surely a lack of belief in God is required. If indeed there were a benevolent God, why then would they create this universe and sentient life if it were negative? Religious people tend to believe that God has a master plan we are all a part of, in such a way that it is beyond our comprehension as mere mortals. Life is a gift, and with it we are prescribed divine meaning. To view this as a negative thing goes against the will of God. For this reason, many strong opponents of the antinatalist philosophy are religious. Some would say that atheism can lead to antinatalism for similar reasons. Though many atheists identify as existentialists or absurdists, I believe there are serious problems with these philosophies that I will cover at a later date. In the 21st century, it is easy to see the vast amounts of incomprehensible suffering that plague sentient life. Without interpretation through a divine lens, this suffering is not meaningful, not for a greater purpose, and should be stopped. The only way to accomplish this, of course, is to eradicate all sentient life, which is the entire point of antinatalism. Many people assume that all antinatalists are atheists, but this is not the case. In an antinatalist Facebook group, when asked, "What do you believe in?" 64% of 367 participants did describe themselves as atheists, but 30% considered themselves as only agnostic, and 6% stated they believed in a god. There were other opinions expressed, but I have chosen to exclude them as many were jokes or otherwise irrelevant to the purposes of this discussion. It is also important to note the possibility that respondents to the poll may only identify with antinatalism to the extent of reducing human population, not the eradication of sentient life. This may be for environmental reasons, for example. Given what has been said earlier in this video about religion and antinatalism, why did a notable minority of antinatalists still identify as believing in a god? One answer could be they simply don't see a contradiction between the two beliefs. Perhaps they were raised in a particular religious faith and later arrived at antinatalism and were perfectly comfortable with that. Another thing to keep in mind is that people hold religious beliefs to varying degrees. Many people in the Western world, for example, were raised as Catholics, and although when they grew older their beliefs waned, they were never fully able to let go of what they had been taught to believe. Even people who were abused by the church are often unable to unstick themselves from its doctrine. Furthermore, not all religious people believe all the same things I have described earlier in this video. Perhaps they don't believe God is benevolent, for example. Some people may believe God is even evil, or they may be deists who do not believe God interferes with our lives or has given us any purpose. There are also serious arguments to become an antinatalist from a religious perspective. If you are of an Abrahamic faith, for example, not having children means your hypothetical progeny will never be suffering in hell for all of eternity, which is surely a good thing. Children may deviate from the faith or may even be designated a place in hell within God's master plan. In Buddhist faith, while not doctrinally against procreation, to not procreate is to reduce reincarnation. Life is considered suffering in Buddhism. It's also worth noting that higher-ups in religion, such as the Pope, priests, etc., also do not procreate. While there are reasons for antinatalism to be associated with atheism, and most antinatalists are atheists, it is possible to be a religious antinatalist. There are in fact arguments to be an antinatalist from both an atheistic and a religious perspective. Antinatalists should not be so quick to assume they are all atheists. If the goal is to make antinatalism a more widespread philosophy, then the more antinatalists, the better. We should welcome people whether or not they are religious. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. If you feel like it, please comment below as well. Thanks for watching.